everyone. This is Alastair, and thanks for tuning in to the AI Cognitive Shift, Voices Shaping the Future. This podcast is a collaboration with the Venture Variety Show and AInews.com, in which we look at AI's impact on society and culture and the future of work. In today's episode, we explore AI in the legal community. Our guest today is Alon Shwartz. He is a co-founder and COO of Trellis. Trellis provides state trial court data and insights using AI. And Alon and I talk about AI's impact on jobs in the legal community. And Alon also kind of looks ahead at how law may be one day with AI's influence. But let's let Alon tell it best. So let's jump in and meet Alon and hear about Trellis.
So my name is Alon, as you mentioned. I'm the co-founder and chief product. I was the chief product officer, now I'm the chief operating officer. And I've been, this Trellis is my fifth startup that I co-founded. Before I had other companies and different roles that I co-founded as a COO, and before that as a CTO. So I've been one of those addicted people that've been running startups for a long time. And Trellis is really one interesting product and company where I'm not an attorney, and yet I'm building now, along with my co-founder, a company that is providing data and solutions for attorneys and anyone who is interested in the state trial court data. It's a whole other question of why did I do that, which we can get into. But really, Trellis provide a solution to a big problem that exists in the market, which is how do you access state trial court data? And for those who are not in an attorney or dealing with the legal space, I'll provide a really simple problem definition, which is the legal space in America is divided in two sides, federal and state. Federal has been solved for many years. There's one system called Pacer, and there are many solution providers, huge ones like LexisNexis and Westlaw, that providing solutions that every law firm uses. And that's great. On the state trial court side, every state and every county in every state has the ability to provide whatever solutions they want, right? It's true democracy. So if you're living in California like me, and you're living in LA County, LA Superior Court is typically your county, and there's a Superior Court, and there are multiple courts. But if you live in San Diego or San Francisco or Riverside, every county has their own court, their own website, their own classification of cases, their own clerk. And there is no one solution that takes all that data from 3,000 counties in a country into a single system. And that's what we took upon ourselves to do, which is pretty insane and very difficult. So we have now 600 counties and over 3,500 courts overall aggregated in our database, and we're providing solutions like from ability to research and find any case in the last 20 years, as well as analytics, all the way to the generative AI that is the topic of this. And so our advantage is we have data, state trial court case information, including all the documents that no one else has, including OpenAI, Anthropic, and others. So we're providing solutions to law firms, insurance, corporation, law schools, law libraries, everyone who is interested, and there are a lot of those verticals are interested in the state trial court data.
And you're AI driven, meaning your ability
Absolutely.
to provide, yes.
So we're AI, and that's a good question. I want to differentiate between AI and generative AI. So we do both. Historically, we've been doing a lot of AI, all the way from like NLP and other type of AI solutions or technology, all the way to generative AI, which is the most recent iteration of AI.
Great. Going back to Trellis for a moment, how long has it been operating?
The Trellis has been around for over 6 years, probably close to 7 years. So we've been around for a while. We're VC backed, and I think right now we've just hired since the beginning of the year close to 20 people. So we're growing very, very fast.
That's great. Amazing too. Been around 6 years. So obviously you launched before ChatGPT in late 2022.
Yes.
And so on that topic of AI, and you said you're not a lawyer, I understand that, but how is AI currently shaping the legal industry? I mean, you mentioned Westlaw and LexisNexis. I remember the days when, that material was digitized, and seems like we're going through another transformation too now with legal tech and with AI, impacting the legal industry. So how is AI transforming the legal profession?
Yeah, that is a great question. And the answer is we'll see. It's still really happening right now. It's still very unclear. The one thing for sure, or at least let's look at this from two sides. One is what other companies want to accomplish and can do, what the technology can do, and what their attorneys want, right? Which sometimes not the same. So what we can do with this technology is absolutely amazing, right? Generative AI, hence the name, can generate new pieces of content that did not exist before, right? So it's a creative work. So I want to, from research perspective, if you have all the data in the world, right, in your model, if you're OpenAI or Anthropic or Gemini, whichever one you're using, or others, now you can ask questions, right? Hence the whole, we all know ChatGPT, everyone is using ChatGPT. So you can do all kind of research that is absolutely amazing and was very hard to do before, by a person. All the way to, hey, write me a letter, generate me a motion, which is very, very, very difficult. And we're getting to that. So that's what this technology can do. And that's not new, right? You can do a lot of research and ask questions. The questions for law firms is great. If all my industry is based on few issues that are now existing, if my whole industry is based on I'm charging you by the hour and you took something that took 30 hours to do by press of a button, how do I charge for my work, right? So that's billing is something that industry is struggling with itself to figure out how to get around, right? Productivity is great when you're charging fixed amount, but it's not great when you're charging by hour. So that's something that the industry by itself has to solve. And I think they're obviously going to find a way how to do it, just like with any other technology in the past. For example, e-discovery, from 15 years ago or whatever it took to became a mainstream, made law firms very, very efficient, and this found a way how to charge for that work, right? So I'm not that concerned about billing. Attorneys are very creative and find a way how to charge for their work. Beyond that is accuracy, right? We're all aware of the concept of hallucination. AI is great and very creative. You don't want to be creative when it comes to the law, right? You want to be accurate, right? So no matter how low you set that that parameter, down to zero, AIs can still, because the nature of how it works, right, be creative and come up with facts are not true, as in facts that are not true. So that's a risk of this technology that law firms are paying very close attention, right? We don't, and I'm sure it will be the same for other fields like medicine. You don't want to misdiagnose someone. Right?
Do you see AI impacting jobs in the legal profession? Is it with
Also,
absolutely? Is it going to impact probably like the lower level jobs or just throughout? Lower level meaning like associates, people who do the work of collecting the information that they would normally provide. You can just have an AI machine do it. You could have Trellis do it.
it is again something that the industry by itself is struggling. I was just in legal week, a pretty big conference, on a panel there, and that was one of the topics. And everyone is pretty much convinced that first, second, third year associates have to find them a different role, different job. I mean, obviously they'll hire early young attorneys or early first, second year, whatever attorneys, but they won't do what they're doing now. They will have to do something else because research became a commodity now. You can do research and you can do really simple drafting, very successfully with AI. So something that took a first, second, third year associate 38 hours to do, you can now again get by asking people question, a press of a button. So that's something the industry is struggling with. How will they get experience with research, with drafting, if you can get the first draft in a second? Yeah, I don't have the answer. They will have to find the answer, but those are very serious questions that law firms are asking themselves. How will because if you're already a partner, you already have the experience, great. Now you can benefit from this technology. If you don't have the experience, for the first 3, 4, 5, 6 years of an attorney is really getting the experience of how it is to be an attorney. A law firm gives you a foundation, but not the experience. If the AI will do all of that, how do you create the next generation?
How about Trellis itself? Are you seeing increased competition in the legal tech industry? It seems like there's a lot of companies providing various services. Are you seeing your sector growing? How's Trellis responding?
Yeah. So when we raised originally, or the first couple of rounds pre ChatGPT launching, it was legal tech was not sexy, anything but, right? It is the hottest thing right now, right? So there's an influx of legal tech companies launching in the AI space. Every company in the legal space adding a slash AI, dot AI, dash AI to their name, space AI, right? So it is become very, very crowded. A lot of companies coming in. So I predict that in the next couple of years we'll see um, either mergers or companies going out of business, just like anything else that happens in the tech space.
The natural progression, consolidation, and
Exactly.
other.
Exactly. I think from our perspective, I won't say I'm not concerned. Obviously, competition is always there and it's a good thing, but also you need to be aware and careful. Our moat is our data, right? We have spent tremendous amount of time, effort, and time, money, and effort getting the coverage that we have over, again, the 46 states plus DC, as well as 3,500 courts over 20 years. That's a lot of data that is very hard to get. OpenAI cannot get it. You can't just go and crawl. I mean, though that's really hard to do. So as long as we can maintain that advantage, that will be great. We need to, like anything else in any space, you just need to make sure that you're faster than your competitor.
Absolutely, and always, that never ends, even before AI.
Right. So really, nothing changed. The only thing really that is different in this space right now, and it's not just for legal tech, is that AI is moving faster than any technology that I've seen in my career. Right? We all been through different tech revolutions. In the internet, of course, mobile, web, web 1.0, 2.0. No technology has moved this fast. It just very, very hard to catch up with new changes in this technology. Not only that, it is a technology that's very hard to understand and reverse engineer, right? So I always compare AI to like SEO, right? You don't know how SEO works, and there's no way to reverse engineer it because it's very complicated. So you just try things and see if it works, which makes things even more complicated because how do you test it, right? We can talk more about that.
I'm kind of curious. Speaking broadly, what advice do you give to other startups, entrepreneurs, professionals looking to adopt AI in their own industry? Because I imagine this is a question you get asked a lot. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I always ask them, first of all, what use cases or what problems are you solving for, right? I mean, that's number one. Do you need AI? Do you need to, and again, specifically, I want to focus on generative AI because their AI covers a lot of different technologies. So if you're talking about generative AI, like leveraging one of the big models, what do you need this? I mean, what problem are you solving? And that's one. So what are the use cases? Who are the users, the personas, and their problems, right? Like anything else, can you charge money from this? Or the typical question you ask any early stage company, right? Then what data do you have that the large models don't have? That's really important because if you're saying, look, I can just use the prompt, just use prompt and, ask some smart questions and get some answers. Yeah, then you don't have any moat around your technology. Anyone can write a smart prompt at the end of the day, right? And those models become smarter and smarter with every new version that comes every Tuesday and Thursday. So what data do you have that is differentiating you from anyone else? For us, from Trellis, we have state code data that very few number of companies have. That's a huge differentiator. So you can take that data, send it to the prompt, send it to these models and get some interesting answer. If you say, look, I'll just take the company's data, put it into create a RAG model or whatever it is. Great. Think about security and privacy, right? There's a lot of companies that are not happy to give you all their data to your small little startup. So how do you deal with that? How do you, obviously various early stage are not SOC 2 compliant, but what other type of privacy and security do you have to make sure you make those companies, warm and fuzzy that you're protecting their data, right? So these are important foundational questions I always ask early stage. Like, again, what's the problem? How do you solve it? What's your differentiation? Think about security and privacy from early stage. And then again, how do you solve? What's your product, right? So that's the first questions I always kind of advise early stage companies that are coming to me to help with AI.
It sounds like it's quite the challenge to implement AI, because you referenced it a moment ago, because the technology is always updating, right? Is that a major challenge? Yeah.
That's also, yeah, it's a good point. Which model do you use? Today, OpenAI 4.0, 401 is for, let's say, the best for what you need. Tomorrow it's Anthropic, the next day is Gemini, then every few months a model comes out that's better than the other. It's like running after your own tail, right? Like, do you switch models all the time? Because then you need to test everything, right? You need to make sure that whatever you built so far works better. So if you have 10 features, all of them need to be tested. And if it's just a chat window, that's by itself a whole other, because you have infinite number of inputs. How do you even test that, right? So my suggestion is just pick a model, stick with it for a while, build your technology, and every once in a while test the other model and just see. Otherwise, you're jumping over a new model that to some extent validates everything you've tested and provided so far.
I'm curious to hear, looking ahead to, you referenced it again, there's a lot of updates. There's a lot of game-changing technology out there. Anything that's really exciting you that you're looking forward to in the future when it comes to um, applying this to what Trellis provides?
Yeah, I think that these models become really, really, really smart. So for legal tech, I think the multi-dimensional, multi-modality is less of a I mean, some of legal tech companies are using that for like depositions, recordings, video, stuff like that from court. I think that's going to be really interesting of how that is being leveraged. I just seen a new legal tech company that's truly while the deposition is being taken, they transcribe it, looking at other like the complaint and other documents that were provided before and other depositions and comparing them. So there's really interesting use cases that leverage not just text, but using audio and video. I think that's something that's really interesting that's happening. I'm really very excited for us about again, going back to the generative aspect of what attorney does. Attorney does pretty much, a small number of things. They do research. I keep joking that they're doing three things. They do research, they draft documents, and then charge their clients money, right? So generative AI will help definitely with the first two. Research can be so much better. Like with Trellis right now, you can upload a complaint and find me other cases exactly like that match mine, and save your research time from hours to a minute, right? The other one is generating a motion to dismiss. A client was just sued, draft me within a minute a motion to dismiss based on exactly the same cases, right? Same facts, same cause of action, same jurisdiction, obviously, even the same judge. And that productivity allows you, the attorney, to do more, find more clients, do things that AI currently can't do when it comes to actually build your business. These are examples of areas I think the next generation of generative AI will help. I think the biggest actually other question is how will the industry change, and that the impact on humanity, that I'm not sure what will happen. So I'm very interested on the side effects, if you will, the unintended consequences of this technology. That's going to be fascinating to see the adoption.
Yeah, you mentioned multimodal technologies, audio, video. What's always amazed me about the legal industry are stenographers in court. Are they in jeopardy of losing their job because of Gen AI, just combine of video and audio recording?
I think that the legal industry, like some of the other industries, are moving relatively slowly, right? It's fun for me to see kind of the investment community who moving at light speed, or pouring money into legal tech companies, to move fast, and then the law firms are the most skeptical crew, slowest moving, late adapters on the other side who are like, we'll take our time and adapt, right? So I don't think anything will happen super fast, and it's still, one will say judges by themselves, right? If there's an advantage of removing the human judge off, because the law is the law, right? And if you take the same case to 3 different judges, you get potentially 3 different outcomes, which may or may not make sense, right? So there's the evolution of the judicial side of things, which I think is really interesting, not just the attorney side, but the judicial side. How will that impact? How will this technology impact? Do you rather have an AI judge that is impartial in any way, that doesn't look at you? If you can actually create something that is impartial, obviously it's based on past information or past data. So I'm not exactly sure if that's possible, but that's an interesting potential outcome of having an AI judge. And if one will say, you know what, I'd rather have an AI judge instead of a human judge, because whatever, for me it's better because of my particular situation. That's interesting. I was on recently on a personal matter. We were on in court, but via Zoom or whatever, WebEx or whatever web technology, web conference technology that was. That was interesting. I could see 20 ways of how to make this more efficient, right? Not just transcription, but really providing the information in real time, some analysis in real time. When your opposing counsel is saying something, if you can provide, run the research in real time and provide, any suggestion of how you can respond, and not just rely on your amazing memory if you have that, which obviously can be applied for other areas like news, and it would be nice to have any kind of debate, for example, with fact checking. That's one example of using this technology, right? So there are many ways I think this technology can be applied in a fantastic new way.
Yeah, that's an amazing future, and all the ethical and science fiction considerations there with AI judge and whatnot. Any final thoughts there, Alon?
Yeah, I think that science fiction becoming science fact very, very quickly with this technology. I think that the future is at least from the judicial side or from the law side, is going to be primarily being used for good. I think there's a lot of, obviously, technology is very dangerous as well. It can be used, to create all kind of, fake stuff, videos, audios, text. But I think from the law side, I find it very hard to find bad use cases. Everyone can sue anyone in this country anyways now, so that's not new. But when it comes to fighting for your right and getting the best representation you can, I think that's going to empower smaller law firms to have tools that will put them on the same playing field as large law firms that can hire the best attorneys and the best, students coming out of the best law schools. If you're a small law firm fighting against a massive law firm, it may not be again, David versus Goliath. If you have a technology that putting you in the same playing field, that's really fascinating to see what happens.
It is the democratization of the legal industry because of AI. That would be amazing.
And all the way for you, you can represent yourself potentially, right? That will be really interesting to see. All the way from self-representation, pro se, all the way to the judicial side. I think that will be interesting to see what will happen in the next, 2 to 3 years.
Well, very good. Well, from Trellis, providing data solutions for state trial courts to the future of law in general. Amazing conversation. Thank you very much, Alon.
Thank you, Alastair.
Well, that wraps up this episode of the AI Cognitive Shift, Voices Shaping the Future. This podcast is a collaboration of the Venture Variety Show and AInews.com. A big thank you to Alon Shwartz from Trellis for giving us his view on how AI is impacting not just the legal community, but society and culture and the future of work. If you found this helpful, please remember to like and subscribe and follow both the Venture Variety Show and AInews.com. And also visit AInews.com for more AI-driven stories. That's it for now. I'm Alastair, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.